What's up, everybody? Benji Bruce here with SpeakingLifestyle.com, and in this video, we're just going to talk about the questions that you should be asking an event when they ask you for your prices. So let's say you've reached out to an event, they eventually respond and say, well, what do you charge? At this moment, you need to start asking them questions about the event. So here's the questions that you want to ask them. You obviously need the basics, like when and where. You need the basics. So ask them like, what is the date of the event? So that's the first thing. What's the date of the event? And then ask them, what's the exact location of the event? Now, I used to say, where is the event? And when I said that, people would say things like, well, the event is at the Hilton in San Francisco. And I'm thinking like, okay, it doesn't really tell me anything. I need the damn address, man. How do you expect me to get there? And so instead of saying, where is the event, I would ask them, what's the exact location of the event? And this would cause them to respond by saying, oh, it's 1234 XYZ Lane, San Francisco, California, blah, blah, blah. And they would respond that way. And so that's the type of response you want, okay? So those are the first two questions. The next question you want to ask is, what exactly is the event? This is going to cause them to give you like a big picture of what the event is. So they're going to say, oh, it's an award banquet, or it's this and that. And so whatever it is, they're going to tell you exactly what the event is. The next thing is you want to say, will you be recording it? Now, I know a lot of speakers are like, well, I don't want them to record it because I need to give them permission. And what if they distribute it? And all? It's like, that's how people sound in my head. I'm like, you sound dumb when you say stuff like that. And so when you say like, will you be recording it? You want them to record it. You want them to record it. Let me give you a damn reality check to all you speakers who are like, oh, I don't want people to record my presentation. You are no Tony Robbins. You are no Gary Vaynerchuk. People don't know you. Nobody knows you. So if they are going to record it and distribute it, you are going to get known. You do not charge a company to record you. Do not put a barrier up when nobody knows who the hell you are. So let them record it. Get professional footage. So that's the next question you want to ask is like, will anybody be recording it? Or will you be recording it? What's going to happen is, so if they say yes, this may put them in a spot where they're kind of like, oh, I don't know how to really answer that one, because they may be thinking like, oh, well, am I allowed to record and all that sort of stuff? So you're just going to ask them like, will anybody be recording it? And then at this moment, well, when they respond, you basically want to tell them, okay, yeah, I do want it to be recorded and I do want a copy of it. So you want to tell them that. So don't ask for permission to record. You're basically saying, will you be recording it? And that's all you want to do. Will you be recording it? Most of the time, they're going to actually have somebody there recording it that's going to be professional, like really, really nice quality and all that sort of stuff. So make sure you record it. You're going to use that for your website, and you're going to get the videos, the pictures, the testimonials, all that sort of stuff. So they're going to record it at the same time you're going to record it as well. So they're probably going to be recording it from the back. And at the same time, you want to take your own cameras, record it from the stage, record it from the side and all that. So get as much footage as you can. But you want to ask them, will you be recording it? All right. So the next question you want to ask is, how many people will be at the event? This just lets you know, this is going to give you an idea of what their budget is, because the bigger the bigger the audience, the bigger their budget has to be. Like it has to be. So the bigger the event, they have to spend more if it's bigger. So yeah, this is just going to give you an idea in terms of like what you can charge if you know that it's going to be a bigger event. So yeah, just ask how many people are going to be there. Okay, the next thing you want to ask is, what can you tell me about the people at the event? And this is, once again, this is going to let you know, like, what's the quality of the event? So is it going to be employees at the event? Is it going to be like VIPs at the event? So you want to ask, like, what can you tell me about the quality of the people that are going to be there? And then once again, it'll let you know in terms of like what it is you can charge as well. The next question you want to ask is, you want to say it like this, okay? You want to say, how long would you like Benji Bruce to perform for, or to present for? And you want to say it in third person like that. And well, you say it in third person if you are responding as like an agent. But you're going to ask like, well, how long would you like Benji Bruce to present for? And this is going to, once again, let you know, is it a 45-minute presentation, 60-minute presentation? Like, I mean, how long? You got to know how long you're going to be presenting for, right? So I prefer like the agent is responding to these emails, and that's why it's in third person like that. Okay, the next question you want to ask is, when will Benji Bruce be presenting? And so when, like, and then in parentheses, you're going to put, you'll put like before dinner, comma, awards type of thing. So it's kind of like, You get what I'm saying. So you're kind of you're kind of hinting in terms of what it is they can say. So it's kind of like, when will Benji Bruce be presenting? Now, I want to mention that you are saying your name in these, like first and last name. This is just part of branding. You just want them to remember you. So like the question earlier, I said, how long would you like Benji Bruce to present for? So I said Benji Bruce. And then the next question, when will Benji Bruce be presenting? So I'm saying my name. Like this is just like a little branding type of thing. So you say like, well, before dinner, or like after the awards. So it's like, well, when will Benji Bruce be presenting? This is really important for you to know, because you don't want to present when everybody's eating. I've had this happen. I did this one time. And the one time I was like, this is never going to happen again. And it only happened because I didn't ask this. I never asked when I'd be presenting. They simply said, oh, he's going to be presenting like during dinner. And 99.9% of the time, people usually have you present after dinner or before or something like that. And this was the one time where they were like, all right, yeah, you're going to go on stage and we're going to hand out the food. I'm like, what? Like, oh, people are going to be eating while I'm presenting? And so it sucked. It sucks. And so it never happened again. When someone else told me like, oh yeah, we're going to hand out the food and then that's when he's going to go on stage, I tell him, no, that's not how it's going to work. I straight up tell him no, like just flat out no, because you don't want to put yourself in a position that's going to make it bad for you. You don't want to make yourself look bad, and you're going to look bad if people are eating and not paying attention to you. That's what's going to happen. When people are eating, they're not paying attention to you. And in my case, like I'm throwing stuff out to the audience, all that sort of stuff. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. So ask, like, when exactly are you going to be presenting? Before dinner, after dinner, during the, or like after the awards, before the awards. So you want to ask when you're going to be presenting. The next question is, what exactly are you expecting? This is just going to kind of give you an idea in terms of, they're going to say things like, well, we want it like to be really entertaining, things like that. And so this is just going to give you an idea of, once again, what exactly are they expecting? Then you want to say, who did you hire at your last event? The reason you want to say this is because it's going to give you an idea of what their budget is. So if I know that they hired Tony Robbins last year and I say that my fee is 25 grand, they're going to be able to afford my fee. And so that's what you want to do. That's why you want to ask, like, well, who did you hire last year? Whatever name they say, you want to Google that person, look them up, look maybe for Speaker Bureau websites or whatever, try to get a feel for what it is they charge. And that's going to give you an idea of what it is you can charge. So that's why you want to ask that question. The next question you want to ask is, what other speakers / entertainers will be there? Even if you're just speaking, you still want to ask about the entertainment, because once again, this is just like the question beforehand, where it's going to give you an idea of what it is you can charge. So if you know, like let's say you don't ask this question. Okay, let's say you don't say, well, what other speakers / entertainers are going to be there? Or let's just say you say, what other speakers are going to be there? Then they say, no other speakers, just you. All of a sudden you get to the event, you're at the event, and before you come on stage, the guy who opens up, the opening keynote is freaking Jay-Z or Beyonce. And you're like, oh, damn, man, what the hell? And so you want to know who the entertainers are going to be, because it's just like with the speakers, to where if I know Beyonce is going to be there, I know they can probably afford my 25 grand. So that's why you want to ask what other entertainers and what other speakers are going to be there. And you just want to get a feel for that. The next thing you want to say is like, why did you decide to hire Benji Bruce, or insert your name? Well, I mean, you can insert my name if you like, but you want to say, why did you decide to hire Benji Bruce? This is one of those things where you're just reaffirming what they already are thinking in their head. Like at this point, they already want to hire you. So you say like, well, why did you decide to hire Benji Bruce? And now you're just kind of confirming it for them. It's kind of, well, I mean, we just saw his videos. We thought he was amazing. Oh my goodness. And it's like they're articulating that. And then it instills that confidence in you when you ask that question. So the next question you want to ask is, all right, so here's how I worded this one. How did you hear about Benji Bruce? ? TV appearance? ? His manager? ? Other ? Please explain ... Okay. So how did you hear about Benji Bruce? TV appearances, his manager, other, please explain. The reason I did this is because I was always thinking about, how do I make myself sound more in demand? Now I could have easily just said, how did you hear about Benji Bruce? How did you hear about us? but I added TV appearances, his manager, other. What those two things do, TV appearances, his manager, it builds my credibility in their eyes. It sells me without really selling me. Because I've been on TV a few times, and the manager thing, it's like you're selling yourself without selling yourself. So that's why I ask it that way, and you're going to get the feedback. Oh, we saw his ad, or oh, you guys reached out to us like last year, and what that's going to tell you is going to tell you here's the marketing that you should be doing more of. So if you're asking how did they hear about you, and they say, oh, you sent us an email like last year or whatever, and you keep hearing that over and over and over again with every event that you're contacting. How did you hear about us? How'd you hear about us? How'd you hear? How'd you hear? And they keep saying, oh, you sent us an email. You sent us an email. That's going to let you know, okay, whenever I send out the emails, those are the people who convert more than when I like do a Google ad or something like that. So that's why you want to know in terms of how they heard about you. And then you add in that credibility by saying, how'd you hear about us? TV appearances, manager, other. And so that's kind of what it is you want to do just to build credibility at the same time. The other question you want to ask the last question you want to ask is there anything else about your event that we should be aware of? This is so if there's ever anything that you missed in the questions that you asked with all these questions, they're going to now tell you there's something that you missed. So it's going to be like, oh yeah, well, we do want to let you know that this, or, oh, we do want to let you know that the CEO doesn't want to be on stage, or they're shy about it, whatever it is. But they're going to tell you everything else that you need to know by asking this question of, hey, is there anything else about your event that we should know? So with all these questions, what you want to do is you want to put all these questions into a document, the Google document or whatever document on your phone, put them into a document. That way you're not trying to think about these questions each and every time. Put them all into a document. You're going to copy and paste this. So whenever someone says, what do you charge? You copy, paste it into the email, and that's it. That's all you got to do. It's like, all right, so we just need to know the answers to these questions before we can quote an exact fee. Boom. And here's all the questions that you ask them. And so what I did, because sometimes I wouldn't answer the emails from the computer, I'd answer it on the phone. And what I did is I put text replacement on the phone. So if you type in type in TLY or something like that, and then boom, it just automatically fills the whole thing with all the questions that you've copied and pasted, and you put it into the text replacement. The other thing that I want to mention is you need to assume the close. So always assume that they want to hire you. When you are contacting the event and they respond back and they say, what do you charge? At this moment, they're not really in the stage of, yeah, we're definitely going to hire this person. They're still thinking about it. But you need to just assume that they've done a meeting with the CEO. They've had a meeting with everybody. They CEO, VP, a sales manager, the event team, and all. They've done this meeting. They said, all right, we're going to look at all these speakers: Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Benji Bruce. Okay, you look at all these guys. We want Benji. Forget these guys. Let's bring the purple dude. And that's how you want to assume. You just want to assume that they've already picked you. So all of a sudden, you're asking these questions like they've already picked you. And what this does is you're not going to sell yourself anymore. So after you ask these questions, you're not going to do things like, oh, and by the way, if you need some more video testimonials, check these out. Benji is really good at blah, blah, blah. It's a very entertaining type of presentation. You don't want to do all that. You just assume that they've already picked you. You just need to know the answers to these questions. And after that, boom, you're going to quote them. And that's it. And so let's see if there was anything else in terms of the questions. The other thing I want to mention is, what if they don't actually answer your questions? So what if you say, all right, they say, well, what do you charge? You say, all right, boom, here's all the questions I need. And then they say, well, we just want to know what do you charge? Like, we don't really have all that information yet. What it tells you is they're just not ready. That's literally what it tells you. If they do not answer your questions, they're not ready yet. And you do not bend over backwards for them. Like, just don't. If they don't answer your questions, you don't do anything for them. You simply say, well, let's say they don't answer it. You send your questions. They reply back, oh, we just want to know, like, real quick what the fee is. All you do is you say, well, I need to know the answer to the questions before I quote an exact fee, but the fee range is anywhere between 10 and 30,000. And that's it. And so you just have to understand that if people do not answer your questions, what it means is they're simply not ready. It would be like someone who goes up to a car salesman, and they say like, "Oh yeah, so yeah, I really like this car and everything. I mean, how much is it?" And the car salesman's like, "Well, I mean, it's like it depends on like upgrades and all that sort of stuff, but it can be anywhere from 30 grand to 50 grand or whatever." And then, and let's say when you get serious, you're going to go into the back room, and now you're going to go into the details. You're going to answer his questions. You're going to be like, "All right, well, here's what I need to write down." I don't know. I haven't bought a car, to be honest. Like, so I don't know the details of all that sort of stuff, but they're going to be like, "Oh, what's your social security number? We got to check your credit, blah, blah, blah," whatever it is. And so people who aren't serious, they don't go into depth. And that's why when you are asking questions about an event and they're not willing to go in depth with stuff, they're not serious. They're not ready yet. And all that means is you just quote a fee range. So that's really what you're going to do when it comes to the questions, when it comes to talking with events and everything. So my name is Benji Bruce, Speaking Lifestyle. If you like this video, make sure you click the like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask. You just post a comment, ask a question, and if it's a good question, I'll just make a whole video on it.